Hi, my friends. Welcome back, and thank you for joining me again for another episode of Behind Them Walls with your girl, Anna B. Shout out everyone who has made a request for this video, and a big shout out to our friend Chocolate Sensation. She reminded me of the video and all of the requests that you guys have made for this state. So I'm not going to hold you up any longer. Let's jump into the video and check out some women who are serving life in the state of Maryland. This first case received wide media attention and has been covered on multiple podcasts and TV shows. There was also a book published by a Washington Post police reporter, Dan Morse. The book was titled The Yoga Store Murder, The Shocking True Account of the Lululemon Athletica Killing. It was closing time at the Lululemon Athletica store in Washington, D.C. Brittany Norwood and Jana Murray were on the closing shift. After completion of their closing duties, but before leaving, the women checked one another's belongings for any unpaid merchandise, which is a typical normal security routine for retail stores. Jana found a pair of pants in Brittany's bag. She called the store's manager after leaving and locking down the store. The manager said she'll deal with the situation in the morning. After they left, Brittany calls Jana, telling her she'd forgotten something at the store and she needed her to return to let her in. Jana returns to the store only to be savagely attacked by Brittany. Jana sustained at least 331 wounds to her body from at least 5 different weapons, including a knife and a hammer. Brittany attempted to stage the scene to make it appear a robbery had taken place. The following morning, the manager arrived to find the store unlocked, merchandise and mannequins thrown everywhere. She could hear someone moaning from the back of the store, but she was too scared to enter any further and asked a man from outside to help her look around. That's when she placed this 911 call.
Montgomery County 911, what is the emergency?
Hi, yes, I just called 911 to come, and there's 2 dead people in the back of my store. There's a woman that's alive, and she's breathing.
Tied up?
She's tied up.
Okay, and you're saying that there's one person is dead?
One person seems dead, and the other person is breathing. I need an ambulance right away.
Did you see anything, or this is all?
No, I didn't. I was too scared to walk back because it looked like there was a struggle. I knew something was wrong. Hold on, the police are here now. Oh my God, I'm so scared that one of my girls is hurt.
Can't you hear the fear in her voice? Jana was found dead, lying in the back hallway face down in a pool of her blood. Brittany was found in the bathroom, apparently semi-conscious, with zip ties on both her wrists and ankles and blood all over her face. Initially being treated as a victim, Brittany was taken to the hospital. She told police after she and Jana closed the store, she'd realized she had forgotten her wallet. She called Jana to let her back into the store. Brittany said 2 men wearing dark clothing and ski masks entered the store, attacked them, and sexually assaulted them. When questioned about Jana's car, which was found blocks away and had a mixture of both her and Jana's blood inside, Brittany admitted to moving the vehicle. She claimed the men inside had ordered her to and told her that if she didn't come back in 10 minutes, they would kill her. She also said that she had seen a police officer while she was moving the car, but hadn't spoken to him. Brittany's injuries were minor and were consistent with self-inflicted wounds. She had a cut on her forehead, but a forensic expert that testified at her trial said that the blood on her face had dripped straight down, suggesting that she had been upright most of the night, not lying on the bathroom floor how she was found. Investigators did not find evidence that either woman had been sexually assaulted. Surprisingly, and what makes me wonder if Jana could have been saved, is that during the investigation, it came to light that an employee and a manager at the Apple store next door had heard an altercation through the wall the previous evening. There's surveillance footage from inside the Apple store showing them standing next to the shared wall, then walking away, while a security guard sits nearby listening to music on an iPod. The Apple employee testified at Britney's trial that she heard women arguing. One saying, "Talk to me. Don't do this. Talk to me. What's going on?" Followed by screams, sounds of something or someone being hit or dragged, and a weak voice saying, "God, help me. Please help me." The manager testified that he thought the noise was just drama. Britney was arrested a week later and charged with first-degree murder. She pleaded not guilty, went to trial in 2011, and was found guilty as charged. She was sentenced to life and is currently housed at the Maryland Correctional Institution for Women. A beautiful, bright, vibrant smile, as you can see Jana possessed. I send sincere condolences to her family, her friends, and all of those that were impacted by this terrible, terrible tragedy. May Jana rest in peace. The bodies of Manette and Jasmine Bowman were found in a freezer in their Lusby home in September of 2008. Their younger, surviving sister, bruised and battered, jumped out of her second-story bedroom window to escape their abusive, adoptive mother, Renee Bowman. Police were called to investigate allegations of child abuse. That is when the discovery of the girls' bodies in an upright freezer in the basement of their home shocked authorities. Manette and Jasmine were believed to be 7 and 9 when they died, and were 2 of 5 children adopted by Renee. Prosecutors said Renee killed them while the family was living in Rockville and took the freezer with her when the family moved first to Charles County and later to Lusby. She kept the girls' bodies on ice for months while she continued to collect subsidies paid to parents who adopt special needs children in the District of Columbia. She had received a total of about $150,000 after their adoptions. Many of the payments received after Manette and Jasmine had been dead and placed in the freezer. It could not be determined when the girls were killed, but it was revealed that they had been asphyxiated and their bodies could have been in the freezer for more than 2 years. Renee kept Manette, Jasmine, and their surviving younger sister in a bedroom with the door locked from the outside. She forced the girls to use a bucket for their bathroom. She also beat them with a baseball bat and the heel of a shoe. The surviving girl had more than 80 injuries when she escaped. Renee had already pled guilty to child abuse charges and was sentenced to 25 years in prison when she went on trial facing 2 counts of first-degree murder and additional child abuse charges in 2010. Her lawyers maintained that Renee did not kill Manette and Jasmine, but did acknowledge she was guilty of abusing them. The surviving girl, who was 7 when she was found walking, beaten, and half-naked down a street in Lusby, was the trial's star witness. She talked about how her ex-mother choked her so many times she couldn't count, and how Manette and Jasmine had been choked. After her 2 older sisters were no longer in the house, the girl testified Renee told her that the girls left to live somewhere else because they thought that she was stupid and never wanted to see her again. But on the witness stand, the girl, who was 9 at the time and being raised by new foster parents, came across as sharp and poised, at one point politely correcting a defense attorney for repeating his question. The prosecutors called her the miracle child. It was kind of over the top, but she really was. "She's a beautiful girl," said the jury foreman. According to an article written by Dan Morris in the Washington Post, a woman who shared a cell with Renee for 10 days said that Renee admitted to smothering the girls and told her that she had reversed the locks on the room door in her house where she kept all 3 girls. And Renee told her the children had to use a bucket for a toilet. This cellmate also confirmed other parts of the prosecution's case. The 4-day trial ended with Renee being convicted of all charges in February 2010. She was sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms in prison without parole, plus an extra 75 years. She was sentenced on March 21st, 2010, and she is also at the Maryland Correctional Institution for Women. The courage of this young girl to jump out of a second-story bedroom window to escape this house of horror is just quite amazing to me, but still very sad that they all 3 had to endure the pain and the abuse from the woman that was supposed to protect them. May Manette and Jasmine rest in eternal peace. A weekend that was supposed to be focusing on their love and rebonding ended in tragedy, fire, and death. Kimberly, a surgical assistant, and her golf course superintendent husband, Stephen, went for what was supposed to be a romantic getaway at a golf resort on Maryland's Eastern Shore Valentine's Day weekend of 1998. As part of the special Valentine's package, the resort staged a murder mystery. It was a play where guests watched the staged whodunit and then attempted to solve the mystery. After the play, there was a real-life mystery at the resort. Stephen's burnt body was found on the floor of their cottage. The cottage had caught fire, and he was dead. Kimberly claimed that after the play, they returned to their room. Her husband began drinking heavily and tried to pressure her into having sex. It was Valentine's Day weekend. I mean, most couples would be having sex, right? She said she left to drive to a friend's home in Easton, but got lost. When she returned around 1 a.m., she saw smoke and went to the front desk for some help. A hotel guest and a worker broke into the cottage and found Stephen lying on the floor between the 2 beds, flat on his back, and his pants was around his knees. The fire, which appeared to have started on or near the bed, had burnt out. 1 cigar was missing from a new pack. Kimberly told investigators that Stephen smoked when he drank, but his family and friends told police that he didn't drink or smoke. An autopsy found that Stephen had no carbon monoxide in his blood, no soot or burns in his trachea or lungs, suggesting he had stopped breathing before the fire started. The autopsy said Stephen probably died of poisoning, but didn't say what poison or how it got into his body. The Rico's marriage was in trouble. The couple, who were raising a daughter, had been attending counseling sessions. According to court documents, Kimberly had asked her husband for a divorce, but Stephen refused. It also came to light that Kimberly had offered a co-worker $50,000 to arrange Stephen's murder in early 1998, and weeks later confided to a friend that she had been planning to give her husband a drug that would paralyze him. Her defense attorney suggested Stephen was seriously depressed and could have been at risk of suicide. He also said Stephen worked with toxic pesticides, which may have contributed to his death. The prosecution alleged that Kimberly injected her husband with a lethal dose of succinylcholine, a muscle paralyzer used during surgery, before setting her husband's body on fire. Prosecutors alleged that Kimberly, who worked at a local hospital, had access to the drug, but the autopsy did not detect any of the drug in Stephen's body, and no needle tracks were observed. An FBI lab also conducted 8 different tests on Stephen's urine, and again, there was no trace of the drug detected in Stephen's urine. Prosecution claimed that Kimberly set the room on fire after giving her husband the lethal injection. Maryland State Police Officer John Tobin investigated the scene for accelerants. He testified that he found no trace of ignitable liquid, even with no evidence of arson and no proof that any drug had been injected into Stephen's body. The state stuck to its theory. Now, the co-worker testified and recalled being offered money to kill Stephen, but said he wasn't sure if it was $5,000 or $50,000 that Kimberly offered. $5,000 and $50,000, there's a big gap in between there. But anyhow, other witnesses were girlfriends of Kimberly. They testified they actually heard Kimberly talking about killing Stephen. Another witness, a man she once had an affair with, also took the stand. Although none actually linked her in any way to the crime, They were very damaging to Kimberly's character and may have played a large part in the jury's decision. In January of 1999, a jury convicted the nurse after deliberating only a few hours. She was sentenced to life in prison without parole, plus 30 years for first-degree murder and arson. My condolences to the Rico family, especially Kimberly and Stephen's daughter. May he rest in peace. Michelina Goodwin of Great Mills was convicted by a St. Mary's County jury of murder in the second degree, use of a firearm in the commission of a felony, and the unauthorized disposal of a body. The trial concluded March of this year, 2024. The victim was her 50-year-old live-in boyfriend, James. He was reported missing by his family on December 21st, 2022. Their last contact with James was December 7th that year. James's body was found in remote areas of Charles and St. Mary counties. Michelina told James's family that she last saw him in early December 2022 when she was planning on breaking up with him before he took off for Virginia in a company vehicle. But she later told police that she and James were having an argument when she pointed a gun at him. Michelina admitted to investigators on January 18, 2023, that she retrieved the gun that accidentally discharged and killed James, shooting him in the back. She admitted that she dismembered his body after he was already dead and led investigators to his remains. Michelina enlisted the assistance of Larry Murphy to help chop up James's body and dispose of his parts. He denied his involvement, but he was eventually indicted for accessory after the fact. Larry Joseph Murphy, of Great Mills as well, pleaded guilty in 2023 to burying, disposing of a body in an unauthorized place. He was sentenced to only 1 year in jail, while Michelina was given the maximum allowable sentence of 61 years in prison. Although not a life sentence, I highly doubt that Michelina will be released from the Maryland Correctional Institution for Women prior to her death.